Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, December the 20th, 2021. Almost to the end of another cycle around the sun. I'm very fortunate and blessed to have a new group with me today called the Adamics. They call themselves the First Awake. And when I ask them what they mean by that, they simply say, we were the ones that realized that we were not simply physical bodies. We awoke in the flesh to rise again to the light. This is really interesting. The First Awake. And they call themselves the Adamics. We are in a very powerful time in our species evolution, in your evolution. The subject today, of course, is going to be the real you. And when I asked them about this, the real me, who is the real me? And they said the real you is not that body. The body is just your instrument. The real you has yet to be discovered. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it is a very powerful time. That huge wave of ascension energies that came in over the last 4 or 5 days is tapering down a little bit, but there's going to be another spike in about 24 hours. So get ready for those of you that are struggling. Good morning, Carolyn. Welcome to the show. So there's going to be a new wave of ascension energies coming in a little later this week, probably around Wednesday afternoon or evening. So we'll be ready for that. I know a lot of us felt a lot of fatigue and heavy energy last week. Understand, the intelligence of the earth is different than the intelligence of humans, just as the intelligence of humans is different than the intelligence of animals. Planets have intelligence to them that is beyond the scope and comprehension of most humans. Most humans can only view reality from the perspective of their 5 physical senses. Beyond that, most humans dare not go. They dare not go. We originated from what you would call the biblical place called Eve. It is where we woke up. It is where we woke ourselves up. We began to acquire an understanding that there was 2 levels of perception, the one of our being alive and the one of our being aware that we are alive. They're very distinct levels of perception that when we came to them, we created what you call the separation, which we resolved before our time, which is still being resolved in your time, this idea of separateness. But we awoke first from the Creator's hand. He opened his hand and we were flesh, and we knew that flesh was not who we were, but that the flesh was a gift given to us by Creator. We existed in the flesh for many thousands of years and evolved ourselves beyond that. Many of the civilizations that you have found in your historical geology are simply remnants of what we were, not what we are. The real you, as some of you are coming to an awareness of during what you call this time of ascension, the real you is that facet of awareness that is able to recognize its role and relationship with matter and energy and creation as a function of being, a function of your being. You are able to create and articulate very differently than what you currently understand. Many of what you are imagining is different ways in which you can express your creativity are becoming known to you now. We are not physically on the planet, at least not as we once were, but we have learned to recognize the distinction between what we are and what we are not. The same source from which we liberated ourselves, but which we are still one with, is the same source that gives you your life and gives it to you in whatever way you measure it. Whatever way you measure your life, that is your life. When we began to make the first distinctions between our experience of the body and our awareness of the experience of the body, we created a distinction, not a separateness. We created the illusion of separateness, but we created a distinction in our perceptual capabilities, which allowed us to then learn and evolve beyond what was originally planned. We found ourselves in the interesting position of realizing that we could actually alter and change matter. With our own hands, we began to build great things. In those days, there were those of us that stood many feet taller than what you see today. But what has happened is the change in consciousness has altered the density of matter. And that while you feel matter is extremely dense, in reality, matter is extremely expanded. It is quite expanded. It is not as dense as you might think. When we made that transition in consciousness from our density of matter, of simply believing we were just a physical form, into the recognition of our awareness, we began to formulate methodologies by which we could evolve and assist others of our kind to evolve beyond the mere expression of physical matter into the liberated expression of creation. And we say the liberated expression of creation because when you understand that you are equally able to create, and you're beginning to see this now through your manipulation and restructuring of DNA, but again, this is not what we speak of. Simply the manipulation of matter is not a clear demonstration of your ability to function as creator. This comes with very little effort and very little contrivance. That is, you do not need to make a bunch of stuff up in order to alter and change and direct matter when you understand your position in relation to it deliberately and consciously. The real you knows these things. The real you recognizes that thought and emotion and matter are to serve your awareness, and that how you utilize and apply your attentions will loan itself to a great deal of understanding that you currently do not possess, simply believing that you are a physical body entrapped in a material world. But it is the other way around. The material world is entrapped in your consciousness. It is entrapped in your consciousness. It is easy to clearly see that you can demonstrate this, that this form is encapsulated by you, not you by it, and that you are able to articulate its expression different than what it was designed to by the original one. And when we say the original one, we mean that one that made us in its image and likeness, which made you in its image and likeness. There have been 17 different significant races evolved from our time to yours, all in different degrees of size and shape, but with one thing in common: the ability to be aware and recognize the relationship of awareness over matter. What we find very surprising is that in this time, there are so few of you that comprehend that. And those of you that have learned to become architects over genetics to manipulate the structure of matter as it appears still do not recognize that it is awareness that supersedes the manipulations of matter and mind and energy. It is awareness that does that, not your combinations and permutations of perception based on what you would call scientific observations. The real you is what you would call pure awareness. Pure in the sense that you know that you exist independent of time, space, and matter, and that you're likewise capable of influencing and affecting time, space, and matter from the perspective of your awareness consciously. Many of you aspire to go to this place of creating awareness, that awareness that creates. Many of you have aspired to go there. You try this day in and day out, but you keep forgetting. When you leave the form, you keep forgetting who you are. When you come back, you think you've had dreams. Many of you do not understand that if you can stay awake when you put that body to sleep, you would understand precisely what we say and mean, that as awareness, you have a very specific capability to control matter. Civilizations and the evolution of civilizations has become less important as a greater depth of awareness is understood as self-evolve. As you understand, the more aware you are aware, the less you have need of things to validate your existence. The less you'll have need of things to validate your existence, the greater your awareness becomes. You may do so at any moment, but it requires, again, distinguishing the real you from the contrived reality based on your sensorial apparatus, the contrived reality based upon your analysis of that realm of matter. Simply the analysis of matter will not glean you the understanding of awareness that is available to each and every one of you in all instances of existence. That you as awareness function independent of thought, independent of emotion, but interdependent with them in the process of creation. That is to say, you can have a thought in your mind and recognize it is simply just a thought in your mind, that you may alter and change that thought in a process of creation, which alters and changes conditions in your physical world. But if you understood that you can create a star as easily as you can create a painting, if you understood that degree of awareness, you would recognize that the physical world as you understand it is not as necessary as you might think. But again, from the perspective of that belief which suggests that you are simply that body, that you are simply the thoughts that are collected in that body as information, as long as you believe that, then in the moment your body ceases to exist, you will not even know that you are, though you all remain alive. This place that you have labeled as purgatory is that place where you are aware but not aware that you are aware. You have lost yourself in matter. There are no restrictions on your capabilities to create. And we are watching the last few remodelings of your civilization unfolding before your eyes as you participate in your awakening and as you participate in deeper slumber. The real you recognizes, and this is who we are addressing, and you know that you know we are addressing you because you will hear in your own heart, you will feel in your own soul the truth of what is said, that your body is simply an instrument through which you articulate your awareness, that your thoughts are information within the system of the body that articulates the expression of your awareness. And that if you change either of these facets, body or thought, you begin to articulate and change your mechanisms of creation, therefore changing what you choose to create as experience in this physical world. From the perspective of pure awareness, you are free. You are free to create very differently than what you've been taught to believe that you are. There are those that are advantaged by their knowledge of who they are, and there are those who are advantaged by your lack of knowledge of who you are. When you know who you are, you will be no slave to any other. When you truly know who you are, you will be no slave to any other. Do not think that slavery has ceased to exist on this planet. It existed when we began, and it exists as you continue in your journey to remember the real you. And our goal is very simple today, to remind you that that body, that those thoughts, that this world is an instrument of creative expression and not the source of limitation to your existence, but simply an opportunity to awaken to the real you that affects change in this creative expression of medium you call matter. You're free to learn to articulate that expression. Wow. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, this process I want you to, right now, what I'm feeling, they're just transmitting down the vibration. There is a vibration of self-awareness that affects the body. They say many of you will know it as what you would call a shivering or a vibration through the physical mechanism. That is when you align to greater awareness and understanding of self. That very moment where you feel the energy go through. You have different names for it. Some of you call it goosebumps. Some of you call it vibration. Some of you call it the movement of spirit. You have different names, but when you feel the truth of your own awareness being acknowledged from within or without, your body, your system will receive that vibrational awareness and align itself more to servitude to you as its director. This, So I'm just asking, so when you hear a truth, when you hear and know a truth, there is a vibration. When you hear and know a lie, you know its vibration. The vibration of your awareness liberated is always that which takes you up, where you realize there is a greater truth within you, and that when you go towards that vibration, you align yourself to that which you are as awareness, not simply as a cellular conglomeration, a body. This place of awareness, when you feel and recognize that you are not that body that you exist through, that you are not the thoughts in your mind that have been placed there, that you are the awareness, aware of these things, able to articulate deliberate and intentional changes in the system in order to change or alter creative output from the perspective of your awareness. Thought combined with the substance you call energy, which is also known as emotion, thought combined with those function as creative directions to biology, to matter, to time, to space. Thought and emotion combined properly alter and affect time and space and matter. From the perspective of awareness, you can begin to glean a different view of the way in which you recognize your life. How difficult or easy your life is dependent wholly upon your awareness and your ability to place your awareness on manifestations, ideas, energies that will support a liberation of your awareness through the form, so that your creative output is not encumbered or limited or restricted by thought or conditions of matter, which it can never be in truth when you recognize, for you have seen those in the bodies that have been so badly damaged, but they still function as great lights on this world, because the form does not determine the reach and range of consciousness through a singular entity of matter. It is the awareness that determines the manifestation of matter, not matter determining the function of awareness. Although when you get lost in the identity of yourself, the error of perception that you are just a body or you are just the thoughts, then that would not be so true from the perspective of perception, that you would then think you are somehow limited by flesh and by thought. But you are not. None of you are. None of you are. Oh, hello from South Africa. Hi. A question from Daniela. Is my half sleep this morning? I saw a lot of geometrical patterns toward me. What was the sacred geometry download for? I'm just getting you want to ask Metatron that question. But yeah, he says it makes a difference that you recognize that these were not static shapes, that there is a movement you set in motion. Go to the quality of the vibration of the geometrical patterns. Do not get caught in the surface expression of the energy underlying it. Align yourself to the vibrational energy just behind your mind's perception of these shapes. It is the energy that you want to articulate your awareness, align your awareness to, so that you can bring that energy into form. Merely observing the manifestation of something does not allow you to unlock the energies contained within that potential. It is like a box, these geometric patterns, that you must unlock that box, that vibration contained within them. In this, you'll be instructed as to whether you should go right or go left. There is direction in this that you have requested. Yes, direction you've requested. That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Great question. Question from Enjoy. What is this energy I felt on my hands at all times? When you come to the understanding, the awareness, again, so many of you are stuck in the analysis of phenomena, which is the challenge that every one of us even faced when coming through that form. When coming through that form, you learn to make the distinction between the manifestation and that which is creating the manifestation, which is you. This tingling energy, if you place your hands together and the soles of your feet together and move into the vibrational energy, not the physical sensation, move your awareness into the vibrational sensation of this energy between the hands and feet. Rest your awareness in the vibration, not the sensation that the body perceives. When you do this, one of two things will happen. You will either be battling between trying to stay focused on the sensation, or you move directly into the energy that you are seeking to manifest as creative potential in this condition of your physical realm. Understand the vibration of that energy. That awareness that you can cultivate of the energy leads you closer to understanding the real meaning of its use, that it is not meant to be localized simply to your hands and feet, but that you are simply trying to bring through a freedom of your energy. Do not localize it. Go into the energy of it. Become the energy of that vibration, not the localized perception of the body's experience of it. Go into your awareness of being that energy, and you will have the answer and understanding that you seek so desperately. Wow. A question from Carolyn. How can I heal my sinus infections with my awareness? The very first thing you must learn to do is to, first of all, remove the pain from your field. That is what you would call your subconscious field. Remove the pain that you hold from that event that is stuck in there. So many of you do not realize that when you formulate an energy about anything, you store it, you express it through matter. All conditions of matter are expressions of energy. All conditions of matter are expressions of energy. This infection that you call it is an energy placed there as an emotion from experiences you have had that you have not liberated yourself from. The simple way is to relieve yourself of your emotional suffering, to remove from that body the emotion, the vibrational energy you have stored there with your awareness. You put energy there because of a perception that you formed, and that perception causes effects in the conditions of what you call your sinus. Just as our direction of this hand can cause it to open and close, there is no effect in your material condition that is not a direct result of what you are manifesting with your consciousness, with your awareness. Go into that place, the most difficult place of that discomfort in there, and with love's light, with your awareness of love's light, you can correct this. But liberate the pain first. Do not hold on to it. So many of you are so used to holding on to pain as if it is deserved. Please understand that pain is simply an energy of energy's manifestation. Your awareness organizes, alters, and changes. Your awareness organizes, alters, and changes matter from one state to another simply by changing several constituents. One of those is your thoughts. The other is your emotional energy. You alter any of these, you will alter the expression or manifestation of that energy as it appears in form. But you must release that density from there. Release that pain. Release the pain from your heart. Wow, great question. Thank you so much. Question from Theo. How should I react when someone treats me disrespectfully, etc.? Just ignore it. Thanks. That place in you that thinks it is deserving of this must be released. It is not about the others. Your level of respect for yourself and your love for this other, your respect for yourself and your love for the other are very important in this. When you understand that through awareness, you are creating all things that you experience in this physical realm. Although your experience does not have to be limited to this physical realm, you are experiencing what you hold in your creative consciousness as your material medium of expression. But to liberate yourself from the lack of respect that you hold in your heart towards you and to restore love to them, it sounds contradictory, but we can assure you, if you do this strictly from the perspective of awareness, that they do not know what they do, but you do. You know that what they do is disrespectful, but offer them your love, not your frustration, and offer yourself, that mind and body that you possess, your love and respect. If you can maintain that vibration of love and respect within, it will surely be expressed in the world around you, as are all of those things which you cling to in your awareness are all part of your existing world right now. And there is not one amongst you that can be separate from that process of creation. Not one of us nor one of you can be separate from that process of creation, of which you are an integral part. Wow. Thank you. Great question. Thank you so much. Thank you. Question from Drusilla. I feel like my smoking is one of my last experiences before change. I'm having trouble with this. Any suggestions? They're saying when you are ready to really align yourself to that which you seek, this will not even be a concern. Your reluctance in freedom, is understandable, because when you eliminate the chains that hold you to this, many things will change in your life. There are people that are attached to your life right now that you cannot be with if you do not have this habit. Again, it is all about the level of your awareness. Who are you? You are not the cigarette. You are not the smoke. You are not the body. Again, you are free to indulge and engage your energy upon anything you would so choose, but not without effect and not without cause. For all things will have their cause, and all things will have their effect, regardless of what you may think or believe. But when you surrender this believing and knowing that it is the last vestige of your own limitations, then look at your life very carefully, for anything within it that is connected to this limit will be released. All that is limiting you from this will be released. And we cannot go into details about what that may or may not be, but we do understand that the moment you liberate yourself from any form of suffering, then that form of suffering around you will also likewise go. We no longer needed our bodies when we realized this. We no longer needed our bodies when we realized who we were. And so you see the skeletons of civilizations throughout many, many hundreds of thousands of years. And more will rise up from the waters. And more will rise up from the waters to reveal to you that you have been in this world, but not of this world, for far longer than what your current science is willing to account. Wow. Thank you, Drusilla. Great question. Question from Ethan. How do I stop Jacob Studman from leaking my address after one of my mates backstabbed me and gave my address to him and will leak it to all his viewers on YouTube? Well, that's not a question for them, but I would personally say I would recommend that you notify YouTube and you report that channel as having a problem for leaking that information out. Quite simply, just report the channel to YouTube. They'll look into it for you. But again, nobody's got a right to share your personal information like that unless they've requested it. Again, people come here and they ask a lot of personal questions. I'm not attached to what comes through for them, but again, if somebody's using your personal information like that, I would report it to YouTube. But you never know. Sorry, somebody just stepped in and said, but you never know that the right person may get that address that you need to connect with. Understand, in your process of creation, there are very specific things that you are doing. And while this one may say report them, we would simply say, what are you creating? What is it you wish to draw into your life? What is it you're seeking to bring into your life? And do not be attached to the mechanism that will bring it to you. That is our perspective on it. Very different than what his is. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Got time for one more question, guys. Question from Jana. How do we think ourselves back to childlike vitality? It's not, you do not think yourself back into childlike vitality. You are eternally in childlike vitality. To remember the real you, who you truly are, in that day you will be fully restored, regardless of the conditions of matter in which you find yourself. You will be free. Understand, we see that so many of you, like as we did, would yearn for our childhood, but we realized it was not our childhood we were yearning for. It was the freedom that we naturally express as a being of awareness. Remembering that you are free from what you have been taught to believe to be true. Remember, you are free to articulate your consciousness as something that functions independent of that body. You are free of the encumbrances of all past beliefs, all future considerations. You are free of these things. And when you know that this is true, you will not seek to go backwards nor forward. You'll be grateful in this eternal moment right now where you're absolutely free. When you find yourself, when you find your awareness seeking to remember to be childlike again, remember that is what you are now. And to be ye therefore as a little child, as your one master has said, then you shall be free in that day. Wow. Thank you for the super chat, Drusilla. I really appreciate it. You rock. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much. Okay, I will. They want me to take this one more question from Tiffany. I hurt my hand and wrist. Can you tell me what emotion created that and how to heal it? It's the wrist is where you are storing and trying to discharge that emotion. The event that caused you to the event that caused you to fall, the emotion just behind that, somebody else keeps saying to me, and again, it feels like one of your guardian angels saying, release the fear from behind you. Release the fear from behind you. This is a very male guardian angel that works with you, but he's saying really clear, tell her to release the fear behind her, back and to the left. This was just a short while ago that this happened. This is fairly recent. But release the fear that's behind you. The anger is what you have in the wrist now. The anger because of the fear. Release the anger from the wrist, but release the fear from behind you, and this shall not come again. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Oh, you're welcome, Enjoy. Well, guys, listen, I just want to go over the rest of this week. So Wednesday, anybody who's here new to the channel, if you like this channel, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, give it a thumbs up. That would be really helpful for the algorithms. And this Wednesday, I've got a group, a being by the name of Christasian. His name is Christasian. He's from Atlantis, and he's coming on Wednesday at Short Touch Your Soul. And he says there's only two types of beings. He's going to discuss them, and their love and fear. He's going to discuss how love and fear impacted the changes in Atlantis, and what we're doing right now is similar to what happened in Atlantis. And then on Friday, I got a special guest that, again, won't reveal himself to me or herself to me, which is going to be called Turn to God, the Quantum Field. And that's going to be this Friday on Shortcut for Your Soul. So I hope to see you guys there. Again, I want to say thanks to Drusilla, our moderator. Thank you, Drusilla. I love the work you're doing. Thank you so much. And I want to say to all of you, have yourselves a joyful day. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday at 10 a.m. With what's his name, Christasian from Atlantis on Love and Fear. Have yourselves a joyful day, everybody. Much love.